Okay, so now we want to make it so we can edit items. So if I add something in here, like let's say juice and eggs, I want to be able to click on one of these and basically put the app into edit mode, change the state of the app. Okay, so change the state to edit mode where this text gets put into the form. And then I also want the button to update and say update item. We'll change the color of it and also change the icon of it. All right, so that'll be a separate state that we have for this application. So we already have the on-click item here. This if statement that we have for the remove is just making sure that we're clicking on the X. So what we can do is have an else here. So if I say else and I just do a console log of 1, now if I click anywhere else in here, I'm going to get the 1. Okay, so whatever I put in here will fire off. So before I do anything here, I'm actually going to set a global variable up top called is edit mode. So we're going to use let because we'll be able to reassign it. And let's say is edit mode, and that's going to be set to false by default. Okay, and I'm doing that for a few reasons, which I'll get to. Now back down here in the on-click item, in the else, we're gonna call another function here because I don't want to put everything in here. This is basically just a handler. Okay, it's a handler, and then depending on what we're clicking on, it's going to run a separate function. So let's call this function set item to edit. And then we're going to pass in the item, which we can get from e.target. Okay, when we click like right here, that's going to be the list item, and that's going to get passed in as the item to edit. So let's create that function. Let's say function set item to edit, it, set item to edit, and pass in the item. All right, and the first thing I want to do is set the is edit mode. So is edit mode, I'm going to set that to true. Okay, and then I want to have a couple visual cues that we're in edit mode. So let's make whatever one we click on here, make the text a little bit lighter. And we could do that a few different ways. We could do like item.style.color and set that, let's set it to CCC, which is gray, light gray. Now when I click on it, you'll see it turns gray. And if I click on all of them, they'll all turn gray right now. And there's no way to get them back, but we'll take care of that. You could also set it to a class if you have a CSS class. Maybe we should do that because we haven't done that yet in this project, just to kind of change it up. So we could go to our CSS here, and I'm just going to go, let's go right above form and input, and let's say edit-mode. And then what we'll do is add a color, and you can do whatever you want here. I'm just going to make the color a little lighter. So then if I were to come here, instead of just setting the style, I could say item.classList.add and set the class of edit mode. All right, so now if I click on this, it's going to do the same thing. So it's up to you on how you want to do that. I just figured we'd switch it up because we haven't done that yet. All right, another thing I want to do is the button, right? The form button, which we'll go ahead and bring that in and put it at the top. So let's say we'll go right here and say const, say form btn, and we'll set that to document dot. Actually, we already have item form, so we could just say item form and then query selector and select the button. All right, and then let's come back down to our set item to edit, and I want to change the inner HTML of it because I want to change both the icon and the text. So what we'll do is say form btn, and let's set the inner HTML equal to, and we'll put in some quotes, and we want our I tag for the icon. So let's say class equals, and the classes I want is FA-solid and FA-pen. So it'll be like a little pen for an update. And then we'll put a double quote there, and then we'll close that I tag, and then next to it we'll say update item. All right, so let's try that out. If I click on juice, you'll see that it gets lighter and the button now changes to update item. Is there a space there? Yeah, there is. All right, now I want to change the, or not change, but I want to add the text here into this input form. So we already have a variable called item input. So let's say item input, and then what we'll do is set the value. We're not going to set the text content. We're going to set the value because it's an input. And we're going to set that to item, but remember, item is the element. It's the list element, so, or li element. So we want to get the text content from that. Okay, so now if I click on juice, it gets put into the input and the button gets changed. Let's change the button color as well. So we'll say form btn, and should we add a class? No, we'll just change the style. So we'll say style dot, and we'll change the background color, and let's set that to a hexadecimal value of 228B22. So if I click on juice, there we go. So now it's very clear that, you know, we're in update or in edit mode. Now we are going to have an issue if I click on eggs. You'll see it does get put in the text box, which is what I want, but I don't want juice to stay gray. I don't want that to stay with the edit mode class. So what we can do is at the beginning, I'm going to just select, actually we have our item list. So we'll say item list, and then we use query selector all to get all the list items. And then we'll just do a quick for each, and we'll say for each item, we want to take that item, and we want to use class list dot remove, and we want to remove the class of edit dash mode. All right, so now if I click juice, it turns gray. If I click eggs, eggs turns gray, and then juice goes back to black, which is what I want. All right, so now that we basically are able to set these into edit mode, in the next video, we're going to make it so we can actually click update, and this will update. Right now, you'll see it'll just add another eggs, which obviously, you know, isn't what we want. So we'll just get rid of that. All right, so I'll see you in the next one.